Good morning, everybody. I'm Helen Massey-Barris, Aviation Week's European Air Transport Editor here in Paris. And we're here to talk to Serkan Kaptan, who is the CEO of TAV Airports. We're going to be talking about growth and connectivity, expansion, infrastructure, and innovation in the Middle East, Turkey, and Central Asia. Serkan has been with TAV Airports for more than 20 years and the CEO since 2022. TAV is growing fast. The portfolio of airports is 15 airports in 8 countries, as well as Turkey. There are airports also in Saudi Arabia and Kazakhstan, which we're going to talk about a lot. So to start with, all this growth, the big aircraft orders in various strategic parts of the world. You're at a very strategic location connecting East and West. What do you think are the most important markets supporting your growth for the next few years?
Okay, thank you. Welcome you all. Let me first start introducing the company. We are part of Group ADP, based in Istanbul, headquarters in Istanbul. We have operations in Middle East, North Africa, Central Asia, and Eastern Europe. As TAV Airports Group, we are operating 15 airports at this moment. They are all concessioned and BOT basis projects. So in Turkey, we have 5 airports, namely Ankara, Izmir, Bodrum, Antalya, and Alanya Airport. In Eastern Europe, we have 2 Macedonian airports, Skopje and Ohrid. One in Croatia, Zagreb Airport, and Riga Airport in Latvia. In North Africa, we operate 2 airports of Tunisia, Enfida and Monastir airports. In Middle East, we are operating Medina Airport, which is the one and only fully concessioned airport in Saudi Arabia. And we also operate the airport in Kazakhstan, Almaty Airport, in Central Asia. So, as said, we are part of Group ADP, mostly dealing in airport sector on a regional focus in this defined area, but we have also a global focus in terms of services, because we also own and operate duty-frees, food and beverage, airport IT, IT technology, ground handling, and also hospitality services. So when we look at our geography, there is a lot going on. I mean, Turkey by nature is in a very turbulent geography. I mean, we always have some turbulence around. When you look at the borders of Turkey, Iraq, Syria, Iran, Georgia, Azerbaijan, and so forth, it's always risky. I mean, the company is very, agile and got used to operate in difficult countries, difficult environments. These are mostly developing countries. In developing countries, we have naturally high growth, high returns, but we also have high risk. So we believe we are good in balancing this risk factor and the growth factor. In terms of the global trends, you have pointed out, it's clearly since 2010, the aviation is moving towards to the east. So we believe we are well positioned on this. When we look at the global growth, the trends, aircraft deliveries or the traffic, there is a clear higher growth in Middle East and also in Central Asia towards Southeast Asia. So with this, we say that center of aviation is moving towards the east, and we are trying to position ourselves towards the east. The last one was Almaty Airport in Central Asia. It's a bit far to Europe, but I would like to also give some highlights on that specific airport. Almaty is kind of center for all Central Asia. It was a historical trade center. It's on the old Silk Road, and today it's one of the stops of Belt and Road Initiative of China towards Europe. So just to give you a practical example, before the COVID, when we were looking at the asset to buy the asset, the traffic number was around 6.4 million passengers. During COVID for 2 years, no traffic. But even after, right after that, there was a huge traffic growth, and last year we closed the year with 9.5. So right after COVID, we had a 50% growth, you may say. So what I'm saying is, it's clear, it's very evident that the traffic growth will be more on CIS, Central Asia, and towards to Far East.
And you've recently opened a new terminal there in Almaty Airport.
That's true.
You've been investing a lot, and I think the capacity is going to increase. I think it's 14 million passengers. Will there be more investment there? And looking at the broader Central Asian region, is that an area that you might look for further opportunities?
We do. 2 years back, we started the investment. The terminal is opened as of 1st of June, very recent, 10, 11 days ago. As I said, last year it was 9.5. Today, when I see the traffic growth, the trend during the last 5.5 months, probably will be over 11 million this year. So, as you rightly said, the initial idea was to take the capacity up to 14 million. But with this growth, we're probably in the next 3-4 years, we will go for another investment, a further investment in Almaty Airport. It's not only the terminal, it's a big cargo hub because of its central location, again, close to Chinese border, 2.5 hours drive with trucks to China, very central located to reach to Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, all that region. And it's the largest cargo base actually in Central Asia, and we are also investing in cargo. Our base customer, main carrier of Kazakhstan is Air Astana. They are also investing in MRO services. So we believe that that area, that specific airport will go very fast and we'll have to invest further.
And other countries in that region, do you think you'll be looking more closely?
Yeah, we are looking inside Kazakhstan for some opportunities, but we would never ignore the fact of Uzbekistan. The Tashkent airport is growing very rapidly. It's going in the similar path with Almaty airport. Uzbekistan opened up, I wouldn't say opening up, it already opened up a lot of demand. The population of Uzbekistan is the double of Kazakhstan. There are like 35-36 million people living there. And the air traffic yet started. In Central Asia, the geography is really big. And there is no good infrastructure as we do have in Europe, no train connection. We do have train, but not a speedy train connection between the cities. The roads are very distant. The cities are very distant. So air travel is essential, and it yet started picking up.
Okay, thank you. About Saudi Arabia, that's also a country in which you operate an airport, Madinah Airport. You've been investing there too to increase capacity. Can you tell us a bit more about that market, given that it's a country that is investing enormously in aviation and tourism, and that's a huge part of its economic strategy? Yeah,
Saudi Arabia is very much in the focus of all aviation people, tourism people, and all investors, because with the Vision 2030 program of Saudi Arabia, there is a lot going on in all sectors, in energy, in rail transportation, everything. For the airports, a lot of new airlines are created. I mean, we had the dominance of Saudi Airlines. Now we have Riyadh Air. We have other carriers like Flynas, some subsidiaries of also Saudi Airlines as low-cost carriers. Low-cost carrier alternatives. So it's a very fast-growing market, getting a lot of attraction, mainly from European travelers, because Saudi just proposed its touristic heritage sites like Yambu, Alula. Those places are yet being discovered by the tourists. And while operating in Medina, we started enjoying this. Medina is a very specific example because in Muslim religion, there are two holy mosques. One is in Mecca, which is close to Jeddah, and the other one is Medina. So for pilgrimage, it's a must-see place. That's why the demand is continuous. I mean, demand is kind of being kept with visas, with quotas to travel in certain periods of the year. And in Saudi, they also did a very big thing, I would say, because getting a visa from Saudi was not easy for all travelers. So now the visa regime is really very much modernized. For some countries, it's abolished. If you have a Schengen visa, if you are from EU, UK, US, or if you have the visa of all these three regions, UK, US, or EU, you can freely access to Saudi. For some countries, it's very simplified to get e-visa or visa on border. So we see the reflection immediately. For instance, as said, Medina is a religious destination normally for pilgrimage, and 80% of our traffic was for this purpose, Hajj or Umrah visits. Now we see that that 20% is increasing because of easy access to the country, because of, let's say, more airlines, more choices to get into Medina. Those historic sites, as I mentioned, Alula region, Yanbu region, it gets a lot of attraction from Europeans. So we believe that we'll not stay with religious travel, but the other leisure travel will continue moving on.
Thank you.
And I forgot to respond to your question on the investment side. We have invested back in 2015. The terminal was opened in 2015. We have very similar traffic like Almaty, 9.5 million passengers, growing like 20% this year. So we start an investment of another $275 million to build a new domestic terminal, because in our existing terminal facility we have domestic, international, Hajj, Umrah all together. So we'll split this traffic between domestic and other international. And the project will be completed by early 26 to catch up with the Hajj season. So there is an investment going on in Saudi Arabia as well.
Okay. Obviously, you touched on this a little bit earlier, but this growth and investment comes at a time of great upheaval for the broader region. IATA, nonetheless, is quite confident about its economic and passenger growth forecast for the Middle East. Do you feel confident that, you know, everything that is going on in the broader region right now is not going to put off that growth?
Yeah, there is a lot going on, as you rightly said. We are mostly affected in Turkey. With the start of the Russian invasion to Ukraine, we lost 40% of our Russian passengers and all Ukrainian passengers. The largest airport that we operate in Turkey is Antalya. It's a touristic gateway. This year it will be like 40 million passengers. 32, 33 million is international passengers, direct international visitors coming to Antalya. And we had like 11 million Russian passengers when the war started. It decreased to 6 million. We had like 500,000 Ukrainians stopped. It affected, but because of the geography, again, because of the tourism attraction of Turkey, especially Antalya, we recovered that loss mainly from European traffic, Germans and British traffic. So it filled the gap. Now we have a lot going in with the conflict of Israel and Hamas. Israel is a good source market for Turkey, transit for Istanbul, but OND destination for the touristic airports like Izmir, Bodrum, Antalya. At the very beginning, it affected. Today, it's neutral. We don't see the effect because the travelers to Turkey, and as the Turkish operator, we got used to all these turbulences. I mean, when we started back in 1999, our first operation at Istanbul Atatürk Airport, we had the devastating earthquake. At year 2000, we had the huge financial crisis in Turkey. 2001, we have the September 11 case and all flights, continental flights stopped for a while. Then we had the avian flu and some others. And lately, the pandemic. And in between, we had some bombing attacks, terrorist attacks in Turkey, coup attempt, many, many things. But we have witnessed that the rebound of traffic is very, very fast. Because it's a good market for tourism, for travelers, especially Turkey. So it came back quick. Similar example was in Georgia. We were operating Georgian airport, as said. 2008 summer, there was the invasion of Russia to Georgia that time. Very similar to Ukraine, unfortunately. We had a stop of like 1.5 months of all flights. But then the recovery was very, very fast. So, as I said, it's a turbulent area. It's not a typical geography that we see in Central Europe, but to the east, Turkey and more to the east, we have these, risks, but we try to factor these risks and we try to keep up with other means of traffic, sometimes business travel, sometimes tourism, or sometimes ethnic travel.
Okay, yeah, so you're, it's challenging, but you're used to those kind of challenges. I would like to ask you about sustainability. Obviously, that's a massive area of focus for everybody in the industry. 4 of your 15 airports are certified carbon neutral, I think. Can you tell us a bit about that and sort of, with these huge passenger growth forecasts that we see across the world, what role does an airport play in helping to reduce the footprint of that environmentally?
As airports, we try to defend this case on our side rather than the airlines, because the overall aviation sector is creating 2.4% of all carbon emissions worldwide. Nobody's talking about construction, but construction creates 35%. So aviation is 2.4, but airports itself is like 0.2 of the total, because mainly it's kerosene which creates the carbon emissions. But despite that, in our investments, we pay a lot of attention to ESG in terms of the material selection, in terms of the standards that we apply, like lead edge. We try to apply the highest end of those rankings in the latest investments like Antalya, Medina, Ankara, or in Kazakhstan. So all buildings are LEED or EDGE advanced certified. We also rely a lot on renewable sources. We are investing this year massively in solar energy in Turkey, around 30 million euros, to generate 30% of our consumption of these 5 airports. We consume like 180 megawatts per year, so we will be generating 30% of this year. We do the same for the other airports as well. We check the sources of the electricity that we purchase from. We try to select it from the renewable sources. In terms of preparation for the future, I can give you some numbers. Today, we have like around 24,000 aircraft, commercial aircraft flying in the world. It's expected to be around 40,000 by year 2040. The traffic of 9 billion passengers of 2019 is also expected to be 19 billion by 2040s. So it will more than double, the traffic will more than double, which will bring a need for further infrastructure. And airport infrastructure takes time. In Europe, we see how Europe struggles by building new airports or even adding new runways. So that's also a reason why traffic is a bit switching to the east, because of the availability of land and because of more relaxed regulations, I would say. But this is coming. We are also improving ourselves in our airports for the usage of more sustainable fuels. SAF is there, but to tell you the truth, SAF is not widely used. I mean, the current production of SAF is 0.2% of the whole consumption. Even if you use all, it's just 0.2%. But the good thing is that, for instance, I was with Karin, the Vice President of Airbus for eco systems for new generation aircraft. Airbus is considering 2035 for the first hydrogen-fueled or fuel cell aircraft to be in place. I think that is the future. In between will be somewhere between the fossil fuel and the SAF. We don't know what percentage of SAF will really be utilized, but we are preparing our infrastructure for it. In all our airports, all our fuel farms are equipped with SAF tanks, but not much of them used, to tell you the truth. So we are preparing for the future as well in terms of ESG component of the business.
Okay, thank you. It's maybe a good time to also talk about your relationship with Group ADP. You've been part of that group since 2012, I think. And ADP has a long-term vision in which they talk about being a multimodal hub, an energy hub. Obviously, as you mentioned, there's the development of SAF. It's slow to start with, but airlines are relying on that, looking ahead to hydrogen and so on. Is that a vision that you share? Do you think that is the way that sort of airport strategy is going in the longer term?
We do. ADP bought into TAV back in 2012, as you said. At 2017, with further purchase of shares, ADP took the control in TAV, so we are a sister company to ADP. So we have the similar vision. We have a strategy called Pioneer 2025, which is very soon, to modernize all our systems to be more energy efficient and to rely more on renewable energy. So that program is going on. In total, with Group ADP, we are 26 airports, 15 airports in TAV, another 11 airports with ADP. So group-wide, we also signed the chapter for carbon neutral for 2030 target and net zero for 2050. So TAV has 4 airports already carbon neutral, and it's progressing. And by year 2045 to 50, we are targeting net zero emission in the airports. It's a joint vision with ADP. Our partnership with ADP on the airports, we are more like a growth arm of ADP in the defined region, Middle East, North Africa, Central Asia, Eastern Europe. We are more on the front line in terms of airports operations. In terms of services, the commercial services on hospitality, IT, TAV is the leading partner. So very recently, we are operating in all ADP airports, the VIP, CIP lounges. In Paris, we are operating 5 lounges called Paris Lounge Network, the ones that you are using. In Chile, we recently opened 5 lounges in Santiago de Chile, which ADP is managing the airport, and some others. So it's a good mix of the best part of both companies to be in the front line.
Okay, thank you. And you touched on the experience for passengers in the airport. You were just talking about some of the services you offer. So I wanted to ask you about that in a broader sense. Obviously, every airport tries to make the passenger experience as good as it possibly can be. What are the kind of most important areas for you? And has what passengers want changed since the pandemic?
The answer for most of all is digitalization. The digitalization initially, took more to the stage with the pandemic, as you rightly said. The target was to have a touchless travel. Because of the pandemic, we all wanted to have no human contact, if possible. The self-check-in facilities, self-boarding facilities, and so forth. It started with it. Then, with the introduction of more AI to the systems, now we do the border control, the customs clearance, or the security channels. We benefit a lot from the technology. We do monitor the queues, and we have automatic signaling to dispatch more staff if needed, or to increase the number of processors when needed. So technology is the essential part of aviation, of course, and in aviation, by nature, the technology that is used in the aircraft is the highest end. After space technology comes aircraft technology. Then we believe airports comes right after that, because airports are high security buildings, airports are living places 24/7, and it needs a lot of care and attention. Human follow-up is not enough anymore. That's why we use a lot of AI and information technologies while managing airports. For that, we have a dedicated company. The company is operating in 50 airports, so it's not only in TAV or ADP airports, it's beyond that. So we recently signed contracts for Panama Airport, 6 airports in Panama, doing the IT systems, the IT network of such airports. It's more global company, so they do operate in South Africa, in North Europe, in Indonesia, in Panama, in Colombia, in Mexico, many other places. So while doing this, we are also gaining a different experience, because experience and application of the systems differs in different geographies as well. It's the human nature. Everybody's interpretation of the usage of the systems are different. So we are also getting such an experience through this company.
And do you see that level of investment in AI and other technologies continuing to grow?
That's true, that's true. I mean, it's very speedy. I would say when we started first using the systems, the IT systems at the airport, it was mainly for commercial purposes, like automated billing systems, invoicing systems. Then came with the follow-up of the personnel, the duty hours, then came with managing the security. It's now very much integrated. The airport operations database, which we call, is an integrated system where we operate through a single center and where we monitor all of our airports, the 15 airports that we operate, through a single system. So it decreases our cost, it gives a control for all airports, and it sets the standards for the airports as well. We don't operate in solo basis, so all is controlled from Istanbul headquarters, of course with backups in multiple cities in case of disasters that may happen. But it's a consolidated system which enables us on the headquarters to follow up continuously and to step in when needed.
Thank you. We're nearing the end of our session. We've got 3 minutes left, so I would just like to ask you to finish off, what are your kind of main areas of focus for the coming months and years? We talked a lot about the long-term strategic projects, but what are you focusing on in the shorter term?
Currently, we are still in a massive investment period. In Antalya Airport, we are doubling the capacity. It's an investment around 750 million euros, and the new facilities will be ready early next year for the summer season of next year. We are also bidding for 2 new airport areas. One is in Kuwait. In Kuwait, a new terminal is under construction. It's a midfield terminal complex in between 2 runways. So right after the construction, it will be concessioned to a private operator. We are one of the 5 bidders there. So we expect results by this fall, third quarter of this year. Another project is in Montenegro, in Balkans, Eastern Europe. We believe we are experienced operating Zagreb and Skopje-Ohrid airports. In Montenegro, 2 airports, Podgorica and Tivat, a touristic destination, in a coastal destination. We are one of the 3 bidders. We expect the tender to come out late summer. So two big tenders this year. But we are continuously monitoring. I mean, Central Asia is our focus. We want to grow in Central Asia. We want to grow in CIS. These days it's a bit difficult because of the Russia issue, because of the sanctions. But we believe that there is a huge potential in Central Asia and the CIS. Africa, naturally, we follow. In Africa, growth is expected for many years, but a lot of political turbulences. So governments change. With government changes, project stops. But it's a continuous follow-up on our side. We believe we have a good advantage together with Group ADP. We say we are multi-local. We could be French, we could be Turkish, we could be Christian, we could be Muslim if needed in any of these countries, any of these regions. In French-speaking Africa, of course, ADP takes the lead, but in English-speaking Africa, we take the lead. So it creates also a natural advantage within the group compared to our peers.
You've covered quite a lot of the world there, I think. Okay, well, we've run out of time. Thank you very much, Serkan, for joining us. That was a very interesting discussion, and thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.